Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is just put Jet's feet in motion to see what he thinks of me today. And then I'll do something to increase his, to improve his thoughts of me today. And then once that is working for me, then I'll start talking about getting him to hunt out that jump. All right, any questions so far? Good. The important thing with left brain horses is he can't ever feel like I'm telling him what to do. I have to present it in a way that he reckons it was his idea. Right, so Pat often says you got to cause your idea to become your horse's idea, right? But people often forget the first part. What's the first, or the next part of that? Cause my idea to become his idea, but what do I have to do first? I have to understand his idea first. Cheeky monkey. I have to play the way he wants to play before I'm going to get him interested in playing the way I want to play. That's so left brain extrovert. There's been some question about what his personality is. Good. So I'm that to me is him reaching out to me like, hey, let's interact. Are you just gonna gab all day or do something? Huh? Aren't you? And then the other really important thing with left brain extroverts in particular is to always have a happy look on your face. It's a little game for him to see if he can get me to do this, right? Or to get me to go, knock it off, right? If he can, then he wins. He thinks it's hilarious, right? But so my job is that no matter what he does, it's right. I'm going to over-agree with him. I'm not going to let him suck me into arguing. If I go to send him left and he wants to go right, I go, yeah, go right. If I go to say canter and he says stop, I go, yeah, stop. Until he goes, I'm trying really hard not to like you, but you're not giving me much to go on here. All right? And then once it feels like he's let go of his thoughts of wanting to do the opposite of what I've asked, then I can switch to a training session. So I'll just play with him here a little bit and see where we go. So the flies are helping me out a little bit. They're kind of bugging his eyes, and I can start off by building some rapport by doing something for him just because he likes it. It makes me feel good too. It's not completely selfless. But at the same time, I'm not really getting a lot out of it as far as a behavior. The other thing with left brain extroverts is to appreciate how sensitive they are by being as refined as possible. And then I can't have a conversation with him unless he asks me a question. So what I'd like is for him to point both of his ears at me. Attaboy. But at the same time, while I'm waiting for him to do that, I'm not mentally putting pressure on him. I'm not mentally going, come on, just give me 2 ears, man. I'm ready to do something. Let's move on. Now, if I feel like he's fallen asleep in the sun, I might just move on. So you just have to experiment. You really have only 2 choices. Either you should do more or do less. Pick one. Give it a go. If it works, cool. You pick the right one. If not, the next time, pick the other one. I'm an extrovert, though, so I know that my tendency would be to do more than necessary, so I will err on the side of doing less. I know I should probably choose to do less. He'd like you to think that he's sleeping, but he really is just plotting his next move. Hello. All right. So that gives me a green light. That was pretty good, actually. I asked him to go left, and he went left. But he went left with that look on his face, right? Like, oh, God, circling game again. If I have to do that one more time, good boy, I might just throw up. So then the next thing he does is, I wonder what she'll do if I just think about leaving her. And what he would think I might do would be to pull on his face. If I pull on his face, then he wins. He got me to be direct line. So instead, what I did was yield his hindquarters. Hide your hiney is essentially the game I just played there. And what look did he have on his face then?
Surprise.
Whoop. Oh, I thought you might pull on my face. And if I pulled on his face, he'd probably turn and look at me, but he'd be like this. All right, so I'm just going to play the game. Good boy. Good boy. So I'm just going to reward the expression just there because that's been a big challenge for him. If that was a pretty regular thing that we hadn't been trying really hard to overcome, then I'd move on. I would have asked him to do something. Boy. Now, here's his next test. I know you'd like me to back up, but I'm going to back up crooked. Are you going to make the correction? No, I'm going to keep asking you to back, though, until you get it straight. I want him to discover the right answer. I don't want to tell him what it is. He hates that. Have you ever had a boss who gave you a job and then stood over your shoulder and told you how to do it every step of the way? Makes me want to punch him in the face. So me and Jetty understand each other. I would have the same look on his face, on my face, that he would have if I... that was good. Very clever boy. And lots of good boys. Not because he understands the word good boys. I can teach him to understand the word good boy. And that it means something positive. That's called a bridge. And if you've ridden with David Lichman, you probably know what that means. That's to do with liberty training for the most part. But I doubt that he's had that. He's learned a bridge. Good. That just allows me to reinforce him with words from farther away. If he did something good over there and I wanted to give a positive reinforcement in the form of any kind of food, by the time he got to me, he wouldn't know what he did that earned the cookie or the carrot or whatever. So you teach them to associate the words or sound, it's, like clicker training, with something they like. Okay, so he discovered about going, he chose to go backwards rather than I spent a lot of time yielding his hindquarters to get him to face up. That's a good boy. Hi. The other thing I can do for him that will help him get more interested and snappy is to be a little bit unpredictable. Not in a okay. Not in a way that might scare him, but just enough that he finds it entertaining. I have a playful attitude. So he's ready to learn now. I can maneuver his feet. Oh, now he's going to play that game. He could lose a learning. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah.
Look at them ears.
Yeah. Good boy. He can lose his learning frame of mind at any point. Then I got to be ready to go back to those strategies. Especially if I'm talking. If I weren't talking so much, I'd just get on with it and stay in a learning frame of mind, but it's difficult to split your attention. Now, he gave me 2 ears. The worst thing I could do is be really quick to ask him to go somewhere. That's okay. That's okay. Good boy. Okay, so he's in a learning frame of mind now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up for him that he can just as easily choose to jump those barrels as he could to go between me. And then after he chooses not what I wanted, I'm going to put a little pressure on him. After he makes a decision. Yay! Good boy! And then when he jumps the jump, I'm going to come and sit on him. Good boy. Oh, you figured it out. See, I didn't tell him to jump those jumps. He could have chosen either one. If he had enough rope, he could go between me and the jumps, and he could go around the other way. But it was his choice. He squared himself up right away and said, I bet she wants me to jump that jump. And then what I need to make sure is that I sit and wait here next to the obstacle so that he gets comfort here. Relief is here. And so the harder it was for them to find the right answer, the longer I should sit here. It didn't take him that long to sort it out, right? So I don't necessarily have to sit here that long. A good way to know when it's okay to move on or try again is when he catches his breath. He did like 2 laps. He's not hardly even out of breath. So I could probably give it a go again. But I need to then make sure that I present him with a new challenge. It can't be the same game again with left brain horses. With right brain horses, you probably need to do it 2 or 3 times so then they can do it with confidence. But he's confident. He's a little on the edge of not confident, which is okay with me, because on that little edge of unconfidence is willingness. When he's overly confident, that's when he's not at all willing. All right? And I know some of it is that I doubt Nat plays with it quite as animated as I just did, and he's more surprised by, my animation and that I'm sort of over the top with my expression and I move places quickly and that sort of thing. Okay? Well, let's start with observations. That's really the extent of the demo. I didn't want it to be a big, long demo. I just want to get you to start thinking about making it a game or a puzzle for your horse to solve, a game that they can win, and not just you telling them what to do.
So he chose